Welcome to the next episode of BTB. I am so excited for today's episode. We have Mike from Macro Mike. You may know him as one of Australia's leading health food companies, and we've actually had such a great conversation with him today all around his business and how he has started and had the progression over the last 9 years.
Biggest lessons, biggest breakthroughs. I think advice he gives to any other business owners, CEOs, founders on how to sustain yourself over the 9-10 years in business and be still sane.
I think what I really loved about this episode though was like it looks impressive and so big from the outside, but he really gets vulnerable with us and shares a lot about the downtimes and how hard it's been and what it's taken and like the capital he's thrown into it and financial literacy, all amazing topics that I think all founders, all business owners, all CEOs need to be having. So I'm so excited for you to listen to this episode today. He's such a cool guy and has got some really cool collaborations going on that you can hear about in today's episode. So
enjoy.
Welcome to the VTV podcast. It's so good to have you on here.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
You guys know each other?
Yeah.
Tell me how.
So Mike is a friend of my husband Dan's, and I might get this wrong.
Yeah, I might get this wrong as well.
But did you guys start together doing sales too? Is that how you guys know each other through the pub crawls?
Yeah. And was Dan selling pub crawls too?
Yeah.
But I think he was like the era slightly before me. I was like one of the new up and coming guns that came in, and he was one of like the legacy guns, like one of the OGs. And I was like fresh to it. So I don't think we actually like sold at the same time, but we were in the same
sales
game.
Making some serious cash. I think people look down on you guys selling these pub crawl tickets, not knowing how much money you guys are making back then.
The Poms were raking it in back then.
They still are. Well, that's what I say to Dan all the time. All the people I met in that season of his life, which was 12 years ago, 13 years ago, a lot of them were Poms, if you haven't heard the accent. You all were really freaking great at sales, and most of you have actually gone on to start businesses where those skills have been a really big asset. So excited to maybe wind back from there. You started in pub crawl sales. What brought you to Australia, and were you always good at sales? Let's start there.
Yeah, it's mad. Like, and I actually thought that, when we caught up the other night at the living event.
Yeah.
Like so many of the pub crawl crew has gone on to do really great things. And I think as much as we were sort of the scum of surfers paradise, for lack of a better terminology, and it would be like, you're going out tonight and try not to get stabbed when people are walking by. It's like, the skill set you have to learn when you're literally so we made commission only. That was our way of making money. So that means you could quite literally work a 7-hour shift and make no money.
Wow.
So there's nothing that gets you better at selling, in my opinion, than when you literally, we used to call it a donut if you'd zeroed.
Yeah.
And it was like, my mission was just to never donut no matter what. And I'd stay out till 2 a.m, we'd push this big bloody wheelie boo through surface. And I was like, what do I do in my life? But how did I even get there? So, as a kid, my dad was an entrepreneur. He was super driven, had his own robotics business and was really smart. And, I don't know. I was just always entrepreneurial, hustling. At school, I used to buy lollies and drinks and stuff from a Costco kind of vibe in bulk, and then I'd go and sell them to all the kids at break time and stuff. And even one time I had a backpack, and I took a flask of hot dogs and buns and sauces in my backpack, and then I used to sell hot dogs at at lunch break. And then I went on to selling clothing, designer polo shirts, those Live Strong bands, all these wristbands. I was selling Pokemon cards, just anything.
You're
I was
hustler.
hustling. And so I had eBay accounts, and I was selling everything on eBay. And then when I was 14, I bought a MacBook because I'd made money selling, and then was getting stuff off Alibaba, and I'd just always been hustling. And when I was 18, I didn't want to go to university, which was at the very big disappointment of my school. Out of 180 kids, I was one of 2 kids that didn't go to university. So I was the full black sheep of the school. And they were like, you're never going to do anything with your life. You're never going to be successful if you don't go to university. And I was like, watch me. In a humble way.
Yeah.
Just because I had really good self-belief. And then I became a personal trainer, which is probably the first hand experience of like face-to-face sales where you're literally trying to like, you know, same thing. If you don't have any clients, you don't make any money. So I just got really good at talking to people, relating to people, and becoming a bit of a like chameleon to whoever I was sort of selling to. And like, I think that's always been my sort of secret power weapon in sales is like, if I'm talking to a grandma versus a mom versus a kid, I can just kind of like relate to anybody. And I think that's kind of one-on-one sales is you've just got to like resonate with a person. Whereas a lot of the guys selling pub crawls, it was like they had their pitch and I just cringed that they were like, you know, talking about getting horny and stuff to like a 60-year-old group of like guys, you know, it was like, man, you've got to like read the room a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's where all the like OG sales skills maybe came from was like the personal training and then into the pub crawls.
You said that like you didn't go to university, but you said like watch me in a humble way, but you said it's because you always had this great self-belief. Where do you think that self-belief came from?
So my mum was like a mad hustler, and so my dad was an alcoholic. My mum and dad divorced when I was 6. My dad passed away when I was 12, and my mum pretty much worked like 7 days a week to put food on the table, make sure we always had nice clothes, birthday presents, Christmas presents, and like she just always went out of her way to be the provider. And so I think I just saw that work ethic as like normal. And I think that's maybe where it all came from was just seeing my mom sort of like hustling. And then I guess from my dad passing, it was kind of like, all right, well, I want to like keep the Kellett entrepreneurial dream alive. And I want to like, you know, make him proud was probably where it came from.
Pretty powerful, hey? Because I feel like even just being in business ourselves and having the guests on this show and mentoring women in business, I think that's that one piece that's really hard to give people. It's like they've got this self-belief and this desire. I'm like, how do you foster that? Like, I feel like some people have it or they don't, but is that something that's been instilled in you? It's been something that you've, like you said, you've witnessed this work ethic and you're like, or is it a legacy thing? Like, I need to fulfill my dad's legacy. It's like, I have to. Like, where does the drive come from?
It is. And it's like, sometimes it's hard, like if you haven't been through trauma, and it's, you know, you never wish that on anyone. Like I never think woe is me, and I also never wish it on anyone. But in a way, it's kind of like if you've never been through anything tough in your life, man, there's nothing harder than running a business. So like it's like I'm so grateful is the wrong word, but you know, I'm so glad that I went through and weathered the storms, because it kind of set me up to be so resilient in business, because it is tenacious and it's so hard, and it's like you've got to get up, and even when you don't want to keep the wheels moving, and even when you're not making money and you've had a massive month and you've still not made money, it's like it takes a
crazy person.
I was just gonna say
My favorite type of people.
It takes a real psychopath to get up on the morning and be like,
let's go.
Wow, we didn't make any money for the last 3 months, and I've put all my money into this business, and I'm just going to keep moving forward no matter what. Like, it's pretty, you got to be a bit of a weirdo.
I was literally thinking this the other day, because the podcast we just had was talking about like our personal shifts in business. I was thinking the other day, like, why am I so passionate about in business? Well, why am I so passionate about in business? And why do we have a business podcast? And I actually don't think it's because we love business. I think it's because we like crazy people and high performers are business owners. But I think that's what it is, you know what I mean? Like, even sitting at Livin the other day, we went to a charity event and all the people on our table, I'm like, why do I love these humans so much? I looked around the table, I'm like, because we all have our own businesses. And it's not because I love business. It's because it takes a certain type of person to pursue business. And it is like, yeah, we're tenacious, we're resilient, we're hungry, we're creative, we're curious, we have usually passions that drive us. It's not just showing up for a job. So it takes a special type of human.
It's inspiring. It's inspiring. Yeah, that's why. So, okay. Hustler as a kid, come to Australia.
Why Australia too? I want to know that too.
Yeah, let's quickly touch on that.
Okay, so I was in Leeds, UK, running my personal training business from 18 to 21. and then went through a bit of a toxic relationship breakup, kind of just like needed a fresh start. So I decided to move to Las Vegas because it was like my favorite place in the whole world. And I'd been there when I was like 21 and it was amazing and I loved it. And I was like, how cool, I'll go train like all the celebrities in Las Vegas. That would be sick. So when I'd been to Vegas at 21, I'd done this pub crawl, Las Vegas club crawl. And the guy who sold me a ticket was English, and I didn't really have
Hamish, is it?
No, it was Jake.
Oh, yeah,
you know Jake,
yeah.
So the issue was I was on a tourist visa, and I was just winging it, like I couldn't get a working visa. So I went up to Adam, and I was like, "Hey, bro, I can sell. I just need a job. Like things haven't really worked out." And he's like, "Yeah, cool. Like." Really good timing. Everybody's just gone to surfers in Australia to work schoolies. And I was like, I don't even know what that is or whatever. So we need some sellers. So he trained me how to sell tickets. And then within like, I stayed in Vegas for like a year. I just became like the top seller pretty much every week. Like took me, a month to get it. But then once I got it, it was like, yeah, wow, I can make so much money doing this.
Yeah.
And then got to the end of the season, I'd kind of exhausted all possible visas and everyone was coming for then schoolies the year after. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll move to Australia. And that's how I ended up in Australia. Crazy story, right?
How is it though? But Mike, I remember like back in the day, people would be like, oh, those guys on the streets selling you those tickets in schoolies, and obviously ended up marrying one of those guys. And I'm like, but I remember back in the day, I'm like, if you only knew how much these guys are making, and like you said, that skill set, look at all the people who were doing those pub crawls back then, and they've all used that skill set to go on and create some pretty epic things and businesses of their own. So wild.
So Macro Mike comes into the picture because obviously you're in the health space, and I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the hard work that you would do with your clients, training them, they were then going home probably not eating as well. So did the idea come up because you wanted to create something to complement all the hard work they were doing in the gym with you?
Yeah, kind of. Like it was to help people. And the reason I became a personal trainer was to help people. Like I was pretty overweight as a kid and I got bullied and it was pretty bad. And then I lost a bunch of weight and I became confident and girls started paying me attention and it was really awesome for the first time ever. And so I became a personal trainer to help people go on a transformation. And then, I realized when I was a personal trainer that it was like, there was only so many hours in the week and I was just trading my time for money. And it was like, there was only so many people I could help. So then fast forward to when I came to Australia, I was massive into the gym, pretty much the whole journey. Even when I was in Vegas, I was training, religiously. I wasn't like going out partying. And I think it's why I probably was so successful at pub crawls because everyone else was getting shit-faced every night. I was waking up to work fresh and hungry to make money. But yeah, so with Macro Mike, I'm gluten and dairy intolerant. And so I was looking at like what other products were on the market and all the like dairy-free vegan proteins at the time were just really sandy and really gritty and tasted bad. And like everyone just used to say, oh, it's good for like a vegan protein. And I was like, why does it have to be like, there's that stigma around vegan protein, dairy-free protein? Like why can't it just be like, it's a really good protein and it happens to be dairy-free? And so I was looking at what ingredients and stuff, and every single dairy-free protein was using pea protein, rice protein, and then something else like a weird protein, watermelon seed or something. And I was like, well, if every single protein is using the same ingredients, clearly it's like a texture, like taste thing. And you know what pea protein tastes like? It's pretty gritty and grainy. So I was looking at what other proteins were around on the market. And there was a brand that was using peanut protein. They called it like a peanut flour, but it was high in protein. And I was like, oh, like maybe that could work in like a shake. Peanut butter tastes amazing. It's smooth, it's creamy, like whatever. And then, like that's kind of how it all started. I was making like brownies and powdered peanut butter and protein just for myself. And then found there was more people like me that were like, oh, as soon as they tried it, they're like, wow, this is so much better than every other dairy-free protein. And that's essentially how it started,
How long ago was that?
9 years. 9 years, 2 days ago was the anniversary of Macro Mike started.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks.
So when you started, did you have the vision of it? Like, I'm going to build a business, and you had a vision of building a business? Or like you said, it just started because there was a gap in the market, you needed these products, and you made them for yourself, and it kind of organically grew? Or
Yeah, I just had the Instagram page, Macro Mike, and I was just posting for myself, and I was competing in fitness comps and bodybuilding, and everybody that I was competing against was eating chicken and broccoli, and that was it. You know, if you want to get shredded, you eat chicken and broccoli 6 times a day, and that's the only way to do it. And I was eating pancakes and waffles and brownies and all those kind of like yummy treats and stuff. And then I was posting it on my Instagram page and posting all these like before and after pictures of me getting shredded. And then everyone was like, oh, like I kind of want to do it that way rather than doing it with chicken and broccoli. So it just started as, kind of for me. And then people got interested. And then I was like, oh, maybe there's legs. Like I always knew I'd like start a business and run a business and I would build a business, but I never knew it would be like in brownies and protein.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like, how did this happen? I like walk into the warehouse sometimes like, and I just look around and I'm like, how did we get here? How did we get here? Why did we get here? Why did I not just stop after like a year when it got really hard? Do you know what I mean? And now it's just turned into like a complete beast. But to answer your question, like, you know, my goal was to make like $1 million. That was like my lifelong goal of playing Monopoly as a kid. And my mom was like, oh, you're going to be a millionaire one day, blah, blah, blah. And she had such belief in me. But it was always just like, all right, make $1 million. And so like, you know, we did that. And then everything now is just uncharted territory. So it's kind of like, I never in a million years thought Macro Mike would get to where it has. And it's pretty crazy how, like, almost like every time I'd say like at least 50% of the time I give my email in a situation like at a checkout or on an order or something, you know, in person.
Yeah.
At least half the time someone would be like, oh, are you Mike from Macro Mike? I love your product.
That's
like,
so cool.
Like it happened at the recovery center. It happened at Super Cheap Auto. Like, it's just like the brand has got to the point where like everyone knows it now, which is really cool.
Well, even when I went to the supermarket probably a few years ago, I think you started getting stocked in shelves, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, is that your friend Macro Mike?"
Yeah,
That's so epic.
I was in Flannery's this morning, and I was like, "Oh, I get to talk to him today." I like saw your pancakes on the shelves. I was like, "That's cool." He's in Flannery's.
Yeah.
So to give people some perspective scale, so you've been 9 years.
Yeah.
How many are in your team now?
50.
Wow, amazing. And you have a warehouse here on the Gold Coast?
Yeah. Literally 10 minutes. Yeah. 2,000
cool.
square meters. We've got 250 square meters production site, 5 production lines, 20 production staff, producing 15,000 kilos a week approximately.
Incredible.
We've then got warehouse, 1,500 square meters, about 8 warehouse staff, anywhere from like 500 to 2,000 orders a day going out, like online orders. And then we've got wholesale orders, distribution orders, and college supermarket orders as well. And then the office, there's 16 staff in the office, something like that, 18 staff. Yeah.
Let's rewind to like 9 years ago. What does it take? Like, what type of capital did you have to throw into this to get this started? And were you doing it like out of your kitchen? Like, how did it look when you first started?
Yeah. So I started Macro Mike with about $10,000. Like I was making real good money throughout this whole time, and I did really well from like 18 to 21, and I bought an apartment, but I was also like sending a lot of money back home to my mom, who was kind of in debt, and I was helping out there, and I was paying off my house in the UK and stuff.
Good boy. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, my mom, she raised me, so I was like trying to help her out. So I was making real good money, but I just didn't have like piles of cash lying around. Well, I did have piles of cash because it was popcorn, but I didn't have that much disposable income. So I think I had about $10,000 that I put into Macro Mike. But truth be told, so we went live on October the 25th or whatever, 26th. And I basically just had some Ziploc bags from Coles, and I mixed some powder together which looked like brownies, and I printed a sticker from my inkjet printer.
I love this.
And I stuck it on the Glad wrap bag, the Ziploc bag, and then I just put an Instagram or I made a Facebook page, Macro Mike Clean Treats, still the same one. It's got 100,000 followers now, and I just put a little post up saying, "Busy night in the Macro Mike factory." Just put together some concepts for our brownies, blondies, and powdered peanut butter products. like this post and tag a friend for your chance to win one of our starter packs, which was like you got two baking mixes and 2 peanut butters and like some silicone trays and stuff. And posted that, went to bed, woke up with something like 300 comments on it, and I was like, holy shit, this is really cool. You know, it was my first like viral moment.
And
like,
that's when Facebook was good for stuff like this. Facebook had no algorithm,
literally.
none of this
You didn't
meta
have to
bullshit.
pay for it. Yeah, it was mad.
Comps were great back
and every
then.
Instagram post like for Macro Mike was getting like 1,000 likes. It was getting like 100 comments organically. Like
I miss those days.
Same.
Oh,
It was so good.
damn you, Meta.
So yeah, put 10 grand into it. And then basically on the back of that, people were just like, oh, where can I buy this? How can I sign up? How can I get it? Didn't have a website. I just literally was sending people invoices from like Invoice to Go or whatever. $99, you get a starter pack, like with all this included. And then it ships on the 1st of Jan, because I was like, had to order all the silicone from China, had to, you know, if there was 100 of these, I had to like make them all by hand essentially. So I got 100 starter packs locked in. $99, what's that? 10?
Yeah, nearly 10K.
Yeah. So I put 10K in, but then I also had another 10K from that. So I probably put about 20K in collectively to start it. And then ever since then, it's just been reinvesting the whole time. Like, you know, I think personally, like when you bootstrapping a business, it makes you really disciplined. And, you know, nothing against people that have investment. I think that's awesome. And if you get investors on board, awesome. And if you've got a bunch of money, you can throw it, awesome. But when you don't have money, there's nothing that makes you more tenacious than trying to go up against people that have money when you don't, because you have to be an absolute genius at marketing, and you've got to think outside the box and find different ways to make, you know, $10 turn into $1,000. Like, you've got to be really smart.
Oh, it's do or die.
Literally. And it's like we were down to the last dollar in the bank so many times, and it was, you know, I was like, oh man, is this ever gonna like, you know, even get anywhere kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even to like year 2 or 3, it was kind of like we were making money, but there was so much money going out. I was like, man, are we ever gonna get to that point?
Did you ever have to get like a mentor come in, or did you ever have to like educate yourself on, you know, creating like a profit margin and like to budget? Because I think that's where a lot of business owners go wrong that have started a business. They're not intentionally creating profit margin. They're kind of just like, whatever, like it costs me this much to like output, so I'm going to charge this much. And there's no like intentionality, because you don't really get taught anywhere like how to put money aside for even like GST and tax and all that shit. So like, how did that look for you? Were you just already knowledgeable on that?
Nah,
like,
not at all. And I just did a entrepreneurs talk at a school. It was called the Yes Summit, and it was basically like 10 kids from 15 different schools got to come to this event, and there was entrepreneurs talking, and it was all about education and stuff. And we literally said that the issue with our schooling system, not just in Australia but worldwide, is like nobody learns the skills that you actually need. Like you need to know about gross profit, you need to know about net profit, you need to know what EBITDA is, you need to know like, you know, your margins, you need to know what MER is in marketing, like, and I had no idea about any of that. Like all I knew from being a personal trainer was like I was getting cash, and I was getting more cash than I was spending, and I was making money. But when you run a business, it's a whole other beast, you know. Like as a business now, Macro Mike, we could turn over $1 million in a month, and if we get it wrong, we could lose 100 grand. Like we could make 100 or we could lose 100, and the margin between the two is so slim. So like, it's an amazing question. And I think like, if you're going to start a business, or if you have a business but it's still early, or even if you've got a business and you're pretty far along, if you're not educating yourself on the financials, you just game over. Like our accountant said, if you can't see the scorecard, how are you meant to know the score? And what that means is essentially, if you don't even know what you're looking at, it doesn't matter what the numbers say, like you don't even know. So, you know, you need to educate yourself on that, and you need a really good accountant. So like we went through the Gold Coast Accelerate program, and it was a funded program through Gold Coast Council, and it was sponsored by MGI Accountants, and that's who our accountants are now. Amazing. Z and Grant have helped us so much. But I remember just going to one of their like free little seminar things, and I was just like, boom, my mind was blown. You know, they just taught me all this stuff that I had no idea about. So I think it's one of the most powerful things you can do is upskill yourself in the financial
literacy.
side.
I think that's where, you know, a lot of businesses do quit too, because financially it's not feasible for them, because on paper it's like, wait, what's going on here? This is not making sense. And the way that they're learning is through, you know, a really scary tax bill. You know, they get to tax time and their accountant's like, oh, you owe this much. And they're like, what the hell? Like, how was I meant to know I was meant to put that aside? So that's really cool that there's like a program that teaches people. Yeah.
And just YouTube or ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's
Books,
so easy nowadays.
Podcasts. That's how we've learned.
Yeah, every time I remember we'll be
Questions.
learning stuff, she's like, I've just spent 3 hours on YouTube. This is what I've learned. This is how we do this. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
There's actually a really good book that I recommend to every business owner called Profit First.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Have you read it?
Nah, but it
You know
sounds,
about it?
sounds really good.
Well, it's the concept of like a lot of business owners think, you know, like money in minus expenses, then like maybe profit. Like that's whatever's left over is my profit. Whereas he teaches the formula of like money comes in minus your profit, then that gives you the idea of how much your expenses should be. Like we should be creating our overheads after profit margin. And it's like such a smart way to look at business. But anyway, I don't know how we went there, but that's really cool.
smart.
But it's a big
really
part of
clever.
business, right? And I
Yeah.
think that sometimes
It's the
that's the
biggest.
missing part, because people start businesses not with the business skills, but maybe with the vision or with a purpose that they want to help people with a product idea, and then they are just somehow expected to know these business skills along the way. So I think that's why we love this podcast, because people might see this brand and they see Macro Mike and think, wow, like what a successful business, but they don't hear these stories about where you start, you're hustling in the kitchen, you're throwing your own money at it, you're learning, you're failing along the way. So like when you look back on the 9 years, what would be maybe 3 or 4 big lessons or things you can probably put down to that you think have been responsible for the success that you and your team have now?
Man, there's so many. There's so many.
What are some pivotal ones that stand out for you?
Like, I think like as a business owner, I think you just have to be so passionate about what you're doing, because like we said before, you could be like a year, 2 years, 3 years and not even making money and not even making a profit. And it takes like some kind of psychopath to literally still be getting up day after day with this long-term vision of like, it's okay, like we're going to get there. So, you know, if you're passionate about what you're doing and it's bigger than money, like it's bigger than just kind of the dollar value, it means that it's going to be a lot easier for you to get there in the end, you know? Persevere. Whereas like if it's something that you are only doing for money and money is the 100% end goal, when the money isn't there after 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, you're probably just going to go do the next thing, right? So it's like...
You get bored because it gets monotonous and you're kind of like...
And you're not seeing the money on the other side of it. So
And
you're like,
especially
what's
if that
it?
is your only goal, right?
Yeah.
Is to make money.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big one. I think like learning finances, like it's all well and good when your business is growing like this.
Whose businesses does that though? Like, whose? And can we squash that belief?
Yeah. And you know, maybe the first few years when, you know, you're getting that crazy growth where like every year you're growing 400% because
We thought we were going to be a
We
millionaire.
know what that's like. We were like, this is a side story, but like we once sat down, we're like 2 a.m.
crunching our
like-
numbers because we learned how to predict numbers. Like, holy shit!
Well, we were growing 20% month on month. We were like, fuck, we're going to be millionaires in like a couple of years. Like, this is crazy. No.
For a little bit. Then it was
For a
like,
little bit, yeah. We just
Yeah.
went, "Oh."
So like when you're growing like that, you don't need financial literacy
No.
because you are making
Yeah.
so much money.
You're rolling in it.
And your expenses are so low because as a business, especially the first few years, as a founder, you're just doing everything. So
Yeah.
you don't have staff, you don't have bills, you're probably running it from home, so you don't have a big warehouse to pay. And the hardest thing from Macro Mike was, so we had some really strong, like pretty direct growth like this. We went through COVID and had another spike. We grew it like our business. We hired more staff. We got a bigger premises. We paid for more machinery. And we ended up in this, like, I sort of described it as this big turtle shell where we had this massive shell on our back, but we hadn't grown into it yet because we'd sort of like looked at where we wanted to get to, say, in 5 years and been like, all right, well, we need a warehouse that it's not just going to last us a year because it's so hard to fit out production sites and food and safety and everything. So it was like, the biggest, most difficult part for us. We went on this crazy growth period, and then it was kind of like that. Okay, COVID's over. People are not spending like they were.
Yeah.
People are going back to like retail. They're not buying online like they were anymore.
Government incentives got
There's
cut.
not all this free money anymore.
Yeah.
But our expenses were more expensive, but then the revenue kind of flatlined, and it's fine to kind of have the expenses growing as you're growing. But yeah, it wasn't until we kind of had that reality check post-COVID where I probably didn't have the financial literacy that I needed because I didn't need it, because the business was growing. As soon as we went like this, I remember we had a year where, the profit, it was the first time in like 4 years where our profit had gone down. And I remember every meeting with the accountants, 4 years were all really positive. And then we sat down with the accountants after COVID, and it was like, we had a really difficult conversation that it wasn't. It was like, oh, guys, you've kind of gone backwards. And I was just like, well, like, I don't even know, how's that even possible? We've got more staff, we've got a bigger warehouse, we've got more revenue coming out. And it was just like that
Crunching
reality
numbers.
check.
Yeah.
And so that was probably the turning point where I just was like, all right, I need to know everything about the numbers, to the point where, like, as a business owner now, I have like 4 different spreadsheets, and it's probably old school and it's probably way overkill, but I have a daily profitability spreadsheet for online. I've got my like ad spend spreadsheet. I've got my overall business spreadsheet, which accounts for online, wholesale, distro, supermarket, etc., etc., etc. And then I've got like a tracking marketing ROAS spreadsheet. And so, like, it's not 100% accurate, but it's accurate to the point where, like, if we finish on like 100K profit for the month, it might say like 90 or 110. It's close enough. And me having that level of eyes on the business, it means that I've never gone back into that point of walking into an accountant meeting where I'm like surprised. Like, I know what's happening in the business because I literally have my eyes on it every single day.
I also feel like, though, to have the capacity to expand like you have, you kind of need to have those hard lessons happen so that then you can go, oh, wait a minute, like, I need to learn and grow into my shoes into this new era. I feel like as well, a lot of business owners think, oh, like, that was a really bad mistake, but actually maybe it wasn't.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, maybe you wouldn't be where you are today had that
It's the
hard
initiation
conversation.
to your next level.
100%.
Totally.
And, if we hadn't had that correction, maybe I wouldn't have ever learned because I never needed to know.
Exactly. And you would have probably just been like stuck at the same,
Yeah.
not stuck, but
Yeah.
really
Plateaued.
beautifully coasting along,
And, maybe we could have got it to 10 mil, but we could have never got it to 20 mil, like, et cetera, et cetera.
That's business though, right? It's just like another level, another devil.
For the psychos, we're addicted to it, aren't we?
Psycho.
Cycles.
So, what did we say? So your financial literacy was a big one, being passionate about it.
What's the big mistake you've made other than that one? What do you feel like is a mistake that's worked in your favor maybe, or maybe not?
Hiring is definitely probably one of the biggest pain points. I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs. Staff.
Everyone always says hiring.
Yeah, staff is tough because if you hire wrong, it can
mess it up.
Like, one bad apple can literally like ruin your whole team. And we hired wrong. And not intentionally, like, it seemed like a really good fit at the time, but they were sort of catfished us a little bit. And it was pretty catastrophic. We lost probably half the team at the time.
Wow.
Like, it was pretty bad.
Have you had training now on how to hire correctly? Yeah.
I'm just so like wary of everybody, and I do so many reference checks, and we just hired for a marketing manager role, which I've kind of been playing marketing manager, CMO, since our last marketing manager left, because I was like, I'm super into ads and founder content and UGC, and that's where things are. And we brought our whole marketing team internally, which has been a massive step for the business. And we did an interview, 2 amazing candidates, and then we did a second interview. And I've never done a second interview before, but I was just like, all right. First interview was like vibe check, tick, 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 both were awesome. Second interview, I was like, man, I'm going to grill this person. I'm going to find out exactly what they know. I want to know when they start that I want to know exactly what they know and where the gaps are. So it was more like technical questions. And it was so good. And we literally did a 180 on who we were going to pick based off
The second interview.
Yeah.
Cool strategy, actually.
Yeah, they were both amazing, and we honestly would have hired both, but it was like one just had a bit more experience in our industry.
Yeah. See, that's where I would be like so bad. I'd be like, oh, I like you both. Do you both want a part-time
Yeah,
job?
here we go. You want to do half each? Yeah. But yeah, so I think like hiring is probably one of the biggest mistakes. So they say
Hire,
hire
slow,
fast, fire fast,
hire slow, fire fast, isn't it?
something like that.
You take your time hiring, make sure they're the right person, but as soon as if they show like
They mess
stuff,
up,
you're
get
gone.
'em out.
Yeah.
And probation period is good. Like we do 6 months probation as like standard,
Cool.
which is pretty long. Normally it's 3 months, but we do 6 just to feel it out. And don't overhire. I think it's always a bit of a flex, like, oh, I've got 50 staff, but like, do you need 50 staff? And that's 50 people that's your fixed cost that you're paying every single month just to keep the lights on, So it's like, I think
running a tight ship is sexy.
Lean.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about the rocket ship. So Macro and Mike, we use the rocket ship emoji, and it's kind of like there's only a certain amount of seats on the rocket ship, and you either want to be on it or you don't. And if you don't, that's completely cool, but someone else will be there ready to take your seat.
I like
So
that.
Don't just hire for the sake of hiring. Like,
Yeah.
Other mistakes, probably like sometimes you just got to do stuff yourself and do it properly. We used a third party like contract manufacturer. This was way before we produced all our own products, and they didn't seal all the bags of protein properly, and the boxes of bags, so there was 18 1 kilo bags in a box, all went to the distributor, who then sent them from their warehouse to the store. And by the time they'd been through transit, because they didn't squeeze the air out of the bags, and these bags had sort of been dropping on top of each other, the stores opened the boxes and there was powder everywhere.
No.
All the bags had burst. So we lost like $60,000 worth of
Wow.
protein powder, which at the time was like pretty much
lot.
all our money. So then I decided, all right, if you want something done properly, do it yourself. And that's why we manufacture all our own products now.
Wow.
So that was a big mistake.
That would have
trusting
been a big
people.
hit.
Yeah.
Did it make you want to quit? Like, I feel like when we've been in business, and like I said, we mentor women in business, there's so many women that are just like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, I can't do this. Or they have a hard day or a hard week, or like you said, a hard couple of years. Like, some people work for 3 or 4 years before they get in the green. Like, I think it's refreshing to hear, like I said, these humble beginnings and stories. Like, even when you have all the success on paper and it looks like it, or you can have like big revenue months, maybe not be making cash. Like, does it make you think, do I want to do this? Am I made for this? Have you ever wanted to quit and seriously thought about it? Or what's your self-talk?
Every day. Oh man. Sometimes I just love to wake up and go work for somebody and then finish. And just go home and not think about work.
But then you'd never do it to yourself, hey? You'd have that thought.
Oh, look at his
You're
face. Like, I've been playing with the idea.
I want to go sell pub crawls, man. Like, life was good. I used to work 3 days a week. I used to go gym all the time. I used to make plenty of cash.
I look back on that now and I think back, like, we don't think Dan realised how lucky he was. Like, look at the cash you're making with no responsibility, no stress. And, like, no wonders Poms are so great at it. You come to the Gold Coast, look at the lifestyle that you got to enjoy and the cash you got to make. And
you know what, though? Like, that's why, like, as English people,
the best
that's why
salespeople.
we're just grafters. Like, graft means just work hard because, like, it's no disrespect to Aussies, but like you guys just have it so good, but you don't even know because
you've never lived anywhere else to see
exactly.
it.
You don't know what you don't know.
And it's like it's like you come from the UK, you see this place like the Gold Coast, and like it's sunny like 300 days of the year, apart from today. It's pissing it down. I woke up this morning, I was like, fuck, it's like
The one
UK.
day I got a blow dry.
Yeah, totally right.
Mike's like, look at my hair, I got a blow dry.
I just permed my hair. But yeah, it's like, we just like, I think it's because you've got so much to lose. Like even up until 3 years ago when I became a permanent resident of Australia, I used to leave the country to go on holiday and shit. I'd come back on a student visa, running a business. I'd get interrogated. They'd take my passport and be like, wait here. And I genuinely didn't even know if I was going to get let back into the country.
Wow.
Not because I was doing anything wrong, but I was just an anomaly. Like there's not many people on student visas with
Running businesses.
Running a business with 30 staff. Like they were just like, what do you mean you're running a business? Like how are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just that, like just grateful to live here. Like Gold Coast is just unreal.
It's the best.
I went to when Dan had like a work do on Friday, and I never really mingle with his colleague, like with his employees. But I was there, and it's interesting. 'Cause I feel like every second person I talked to was a pom, and I was like, of course, like it's a sales team, of course they're all poms. Like,
Hungry.
so why haven't you quit? Why are you still here? And how are you still here?
Why haven't I quit? Because I'm so pot committed. I've put 9 years into it, and it's like, I don't know, like I just couldn't. Like I couldn't do it to myself, couldn't do it to my dad. My mum passed away 5 years ago. She was like my biggest number one fan. And I'm doing it like to make her proud. Now my son Jack, I'm doing it to make him proud. My wife Laura, I'm doing it to make her proud. My daughter Lila, I'm doing it to make her proud. Like, I don't know. I fantasize about not having a business, but then I'm like, what would I do? Who would be the identity if I meet people at the shops and like, oh, are you that guy that sold Macro Mike? Like, you know what I mean? But in saying that, I would like to not work as much as what I am. I feel like I'm very like, you know, doing everything and very involved. And I think this marketing manager role that we've hired for is going to allow me to step back a little bit and let the team do a lot more of the work, which is good, and hopefully bring some fresh ideas and stuff to the table.
Well, I feel like you've done, like, you're a global brand now and, like, collaborating with Kellogg's. Like, hello.
Drop the mic with the Kellogg's.
Tell us about this collab.
Yeah,
Congrats, by the way. It's so
it's
cool.
a big one, hey.
Yeah, so big.
And, you know, if you told me like 9 years ago in my apartment, mixing brownies together in a cement mixer, stickering bags together, selling pub crawls in the day, taking my parcels for the daily sales in my backpack, on my skateboard into surfers, all the boys were like, oh, selling some brownies today, like, who's laughing now? And it was like, you know, it was kind of like, if you'd have told me then, you know, one day you're going to have like collabs with Gay Time, with Kellogg's. We're about to drop Macro Mike Times Monopoly for Black Friday.
Wow,
do like a peel and read.
so cool.
I would just been like, no way. But it's like anything. Like I think the hardest part about business as whole, but especially my industry, because it's like there's so many protein brands, right? You guys would be able to name like 100 protein brands. And then even through COVID, there was like 100 influencers who decided to start protein brands because they're like, this is a good way to make money. So it's like the hardest thing is getting that cut through. And the hardest thing is you can run amazing marketing campaigns. You can have the best ads. You can have the best user-generated content. You can have all the influencers saying, buy Macro Mike. But until people actually like taste it, it's really hard to get people sometimes to swap brands or to try something. So the licensing play, and you look at brands like Hoodie, they did it really well, you know, the giant hoodie things. Yeah. And I personally have bought hoodies just because they have like Looney Tunes print or something cool and it's nostalgic. And so when you think about like collabs, people know what Kellogg's tastes like. They know what Cocoa Pops taste like. They know what Fruit Loops taste like. They know what Nutri-Grain tastes like. They know what Golden Gate Time tastes like. They've heard of Macro Mike because they've seen ads and awareness and shit. You put them together and it's like slam dunk. You run an ad that's Macro Mike times Kellogg's, boom.
Yeah.
It's like that instant cut through. So our CPA, cost of acquisition online, even though we pay a royalty like license fee to Kellogg's, like a 10% royalty on sales, our CPA is something like 25 to 30% lower. So we make more money on the acquisition piece, even though we give away a slight profit. Percentage. But yeah, it was a project. Wow. It was probably like to get the Kellogg's deal, because we wouldn't have got the Kellogg's deal without the Golden Gate Time deal as the first one, was probably 5 years from start to finish. And so like, yeah, it's kind of, the first one's the hardest with licensing because they don't know you from a bar of soap. And like, you know, Golden Gate Time is owned by Streets, which is owned by Unilever, which is like one of the biggest brands in the world. You know, it's like one of the top 8. So you're dealing with like one of the biggest companies in the world. So many people to deal with, so many approvals. Like it was process.
Can I ask, how do you land something like that? Like, did you go in and pitch? Did you reach out? Did
Yeah.
they reach out to you? Like, how does that look?
So we used a broker, like an agency who have the licenses, or they act as a front for Unilever or Streets. But a lot of relationship building.
Yeah.
You know, we started that Golden Gate Time relationship like 3 years before it even launched, and it was kind of like, hey guys, we'd love to do something with Golden Gate Time. And then it was kind of like, you know, here, try some products, see what you think. Like, yeah, cool, we'll keep you posted. Like, Golden Gate Time's not really looking to do protein, you know? And then, I don't know, we just kept pestering them like, hey guys, any opportunities, anything happening? And then they kept throwing all these license deals at us, like Violet Crumble and just other ones that they kind of were like, oh, look, this is just an easy one. You know, it's such a quick approval process. They pretty much just want, like, I think the words were around Violet Crumble, they just want to have this everywhere. And I was like, well, as a brand, we don't just want to jump on the one that everyone's going to have. So I was like, yeah, cool. Thanks so much for offering that, but we really want to land Golden Gate Time.
Do you really like Golden Gate
No,
Time?
not
Is
really.
that why?
I feel like I need to try that one.
Yeah, like
I like
the
the Golden Gate
protein's legit,
Yeah.
but like being gluten and dairy intolerant,
Oh, of
I
course,
can't
you
even, I
can't
can't
have
even
them.
have Gate Times. Like, but in saying that, then they made a play. Golden Gate Time released a plant-based Golden Gate Time, and that was kind of our in. So I said to the guys, I was like, look, because I knew they're obviously trying to like go into that market. You know, vegan was trending like during COVID and stuff like that. So that was kind of our in. I said to the guys, look, pitch it to Streets that we want to go the dairy-free angle, and we'll help them sort of get into that market to help push the plant-based sales. And then, yeah, it just was like, it just kind of happened from there. But it was a process. We had to get like a 4-day audit done at our site.
Wow.
It went through like 32 iterations of flavor exchanges, like internal,
testing.
external. We had to put forward like a full tender. We had to commit to like $150,000 minimum guarantee royalty. So if it flopped, we would have had to pay that regardless.
Holy.
So it was kind of like balls on the table pretty
Hell yeah.
heavily. But to answer your question, do I really love Gay Time? Yeah, I do. But it was, the play was, I knew how iconic and nostalgic Golden Gay Time was as an ice cream in Australia. And I was like,
clever.
this is going to be big. But in hindsight, I never knew actually how big Golden Gate Time was. It's massive. Like,
It's
you guys
huge.
all grew up with it.
Oh,
Parents grew up
all
with it.
summers
Granddad
at the
grew up
beach
with it.
with it. Like, I
So-
feel like one right now.
And
Yeah.
so, and everyone knows what it tastes like, right?
Yeah.
And it's ice cream.
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't love ice cream? So, yeah, it was a bit of a home run. And then once we got Golden Gate Time humming, and you know, we had our minimum guarantees, we were like 3 or 4 times like what we said we would do as projections. We ended up doing more.
Amazing.
Then next on the hit list was like, oh, you know, Kellogg's might be keen. They're kind of getting into a bit more protein, but it's gonna like, they, you know. And to be fair, the bloody the agency full like kind of was like, oh, you know, we've got other people keen, and we're like, I was like, come on, man, we've just like done a home run on Golden Gate Time, and you're gonna make us like
We
pitch
should
it.
be number one.
So we had to put a full tender together.
Wow.
And, you know, it went out to some pretty big brands that are in the licensing play. But we had the runs on the board from Gay Time. We manufacture our own products, which was a massive tick because of this whole approval process, and you've got to get the audits done on production. And so, like, if you're another brand, like another supplement brand, a lot of, probably 90% of, maybe even 95% of supplement brands use contract manufacturers to make their products.
With other companies too,
Exactly.
like in the same place. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, you know, if you look at the top 10 vegan proteins or dairy-free
They're
proteins,
sharing a factory.
probably 9 of them are made by the same people.
Yeah.
So it's really, you know, like, to ask your contract manufacturer to go through like a 4-day audit, they're just going to like, no way. Like, we don't,
too hard
there's no way
basket.
we can do that. Whereas like when we could do that ourselves and had our QA person do it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So we pitched Kellogg's. They played hardball for a bit. We're like, oh, you know, this company's put forward like more MG, and I just was like, called bullshit a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool, but like, we've got skin in the game. You know how we operate. We've done Golden Gate Time. This is our best foot forward. Like, take it or leave it kind of thing. And then yeah, they they went for it, and it was a big one.
Amazing. What did you do to celebrate? I want to know.
You know what?
You just like melt on the couch and just go,
Isn't that one of the things though? And like probably like for everyone listening and all the people running businesses and all the people that want to start businesses, like I think sometimes you kind of get so caught up in the day to day that like, you know, if you think back to the 9 years, I can probably tell you like 100 stories of nightmares and shit that's gone wrong. But I probably would find it harder to tell you like 100 really positive wins where I like celebrated, because it's like a roller coaster, man. And you're just like, you're just trying to hang on for dear life. And it probably is bad that I can't even tell you what we did. I probably ate some Cocoa Pops or something. I don't know, just to celebrate. No, I think like when it launched was probably when I celebrated pretty hard, because it was such a
long time coming.
And when it went live, it was like, yeah, how good. Like this has all been worth it, because it was definitely not without pain points, that's for sure.
That's a really beautiful way to maybe even end the podcast there, is thinking about like, what advice do you have for CEOs and founders? Like, how have you created a sustainable business where you're still here? I know we're talking briefly a little bit into self-care at the start, but yeah, like for you and the man you are now, the dad you are now, the leader you are now, like how do you do it all, and what advice would you have to being able to sustain that, not just create something that's amazing, but to be able to be here still 9 years later?
and maintain like mental health as well. Like
I think I'm still learning, but you know, like I think if you aren't presenting the best possible version of yourself, how is everyone else gonna be able to sort of be their best version of themselves as well? And so like, you know, I've been seeing like a sports psychologist, and she sort of looked at a picture of me with sort of like the whole world on my shoulders, and then she flipped it around and was like, what if you work on you first and then everything else filters down? And I was like, oh, you know what, that's like a really cool way to look at it. And I deal with IBS, like gut health, and I've got heaps of injuries. I've got like a bulged disc in my neck, so I have like chronic pain, and I do find it really hard with mental health to show up. So, you know, I'm still figuring it out. I'm still learning, but I think the big thing is try and like look after yourself. And they talk a lot about like boom and bust, and as like entrepreneurs and high performing people, we go in these boom and bust cycles, which is kind of like when you feel good, like you just do absolutely everything and you just absolutely smash it because you feel good, and then you crash and burn, and you kind of need to just like you cook yourself, and then you need sort of a week of just not doing anything. And I think just realizing that you can always take on more and do more, and but sometimes you've just got to look after yourself. And I feel like I'm preaching to myself because I'm still learning this and still working on this, but you know, you've got to look after yourself first, because then everyone else around you will have the best person of you to support them. And for me, that's like, you know, Laura, Jack, Lila, my staff, my team. So I think, yeah, you've got to look after yourself. You've got to give yourself the best possible chance as well, which is kind of like eating good, you know, like setting time aside for recovery, whether that's like jumping in the sauna, ice bath, all that kind of stuff. And just be kind to yourself. And it's okay if like there's a day where you need to take a bit of a break, you know. It's been a 9-year journey. I probably wish I had taken a bit more time to sort of, you know, not just cook myself the whole way. But I'm learning now, and I'm getting better, and I'm aware of it, and I'm trying to look after myself a bit more.
That's good advice. Yeah.
What do you guys reckon?
We just did an episode on this ourselves, because we've been in the business game for 10 years. I think we just spoke into just being in a season 2 where I think we've got an extra layer of like motherhood, where we are the one at the home like holding the fort, so our partners can go and do their things. And I think sometimes it's a bit of not a give and get, but you've got to work as a team when you've got kids as well, because I think if there's 2 of you in the home both doing that, something's got to give. And when you've got young kids in this picture. And so for us, we've been in the go and the bust, and as women, there's been seasons where we've loved that. But personally, right now, I think we're in that season of just regeneration and resting and holding the fort at home, so our men can go and do all the things that they want to do too.
Yeah.
Totally.
My husband and I have this really cool thing where we alternate mornings of who gets me time. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from whenever I wake up to 9 a.m., like I get to go to the bathhouse or go to the gym or go for a walk on the beach or just like whatever. That time is for me. And then on the other days, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Matt has the morning for himself. And it's just like home at 9, like you have until 9. So if you choose to sleep in till 9, you can do that. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to go for a surf, if you want to do whatever. But like being able to do that for one another is really cool because, yeah, we've got a family and it can be chaos in the mornings and sometimes that's like not a great start to the day. So it's just really nice to like just one of us be home, get breakfast and all the stuff sorted, and then the other one's off doing their thing. And that has been really healthy for us. Like it's really helped us to be able to show up for our businesses from 9 onwards, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really good advice.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
If you see a really big online order tonight from a Shani Thompson, it's me because I want gay time. I want. I used to purposely soak my Kellogg's cornflakes in the milk so I could drink the milk, so it tasted like cornflakes. Really?
No.
Oh my god! So.
No,
Like,
I was
that'll
like,
be me tonight.
I'm like, I need the cookie dough and the donuts. I'm like, I'm the sweet tooth. That's me, girl.
Well, yeah, the Kellogg's flavors kind of taste like the milk from the cereal.
Cereal
so I reckon
milk.
you'll probably froth them.
Yeah, I was gonna say they taste exactly. I can vouch. They taste exactly like.
Yeah, you tried them.
Yeah, my brothers were. I'm like, okay, do you remember Fruit Loops? It tastes exactly like Fruit Loops. It tastes exactly like Nutrigrain. What was the other one? Cocoa Pops. It tastes exactly like Cocoa Pops.
Was my like ultimate. Yeah. Great.
We loved having you. Thank you so much. Yeah. And
Thanks
I think, adding business owners, I think these conversations are really refreshing. Like there's people behind these big businesses that have lives, that have families. It's not all win-win-win, but it's freaking, it's worth it because of the person that you become and the legacy you create and the lifestyle that you get to create for your family. So just know that we're here cheering you on. It's really cool to witness.
Excited to see what else you've got in store.
Yeah, top secret for now, but there's some fun stuff in the works for
sure.
Nah, it's all good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
and,
Mike.
appreciate you guys chatting. And yeah, I think it's important to kind of like, realize that, it's amazing and everybody wants the overnight success story of running an amazing business, but like there's so much that goes to it, and it's okay how long it takes, and it's okay if it goes backwards. It'll as long as you keep moving forward over time, like it's okay to have a break or take some me time. And I definitely think if I did it all again, I'd probably look after myself a little bit better. I'm sure you guys are the same. You get to like 9-10 years and it's like, whoa, like feeling it.
Yeah.
Feeling it. Especially when you throw the kids in the mix, right?
Yeah. Well, you're doing amazing. You make it look easy.
Yeah.
Must be my wife, Laura, right? Take all the credit.
Well, all the best for future endeavours. We'll be cheering you on.
Appreciate it.
Wait, babe. Before you go, we have a little gift for you. We know talking about money and building wealth can feel so overwhelming sometimes, so we want to make it easy for you. If you head to the show notes or grab the link in our Instagram bio, you can download our free financial literacy and wealth building masterclass bundle. This is a private recording we held for our business community recently where we break down exactly how to start building multiple income streams, smart saving strategies, and how to set yourself up financially even if you are starting from zero. And because we love you, we are also throwing in our 50 plus income producing ideas guide. Yep, you heard that right. Over 50 different ways that you can start creating an income in today's world, including both quick cash ideas and our top 3 residual income streams that can help you make money while you sleep. It's perfect if you've been thinking about starting a side hustle or creating an extra income on the side, but have no idea where to begin. Both of those are completely free and you can head on over to the show notes or our link in bio on Instagram and click the link to download it today. P.S. Here's something that might really surprise you, that really surprised us when we realized 83% of you listening to this episode right now don't actually follow the show. And look, we totally get hitting that button seems like such a small thing, but we would love to ask you if you took something away from today's episode or any others in the past, could you please do us a little favor and hit that subscribe or follow button on whatever platform you're listening or watching from, because you have no idea how much that little number actually supports our channel. I know it seems super minuscule, but that follow account is genuinely the force behind the level of guests that we can bring to you on this show. It's what helps us have incredible thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and real conversations in this space. And it would mean the absolute world to us if you did that for us. So if something resonated with you today, you can hit that subscribe or follow button, and we would love you forever. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can leave us a review and tell us what you loved about today's episode. We read every single one, and honestly, they really make our day. Lastly, if you're curious about working with either Lauren or Shani, or you just want to have a chat, you can slide into our DMs over on Instagram. It is hands down the best way to reach us. You can find Shani at Shani Peach or Lauren at It's Lauren Kerr. All the links are in the show notes, of course, and make sure you're following the show account at Babes Talking Business for all of the behind the scenes content, bonus tips, and announcements. We genuinely love hearing from you guys. So whether you have a question about today's episode or want to share your wins, or you just need some encouragement on your business journey, make sure you pop into our inbox. Seriously, you can send a message and just say hi. We are real humans on the other side, and we actually reply. So we just want to say thank you so much for being here, and we appreciate you showing up, doing the work, and investing in yourself today. So go ahead and grab those freebies, take action on what resonated with you today, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.